Stadium for today's girls lacrosse matchup between the St. Anthony Friars and the Canaan Rams. Now let's get this afternoon's starting lineups. First for St. Anthony. Number 35, Catherine Rapkin. Number 22, Canaan McNulty. Number 8, Emma Speed. Number 3, Anna Christie. Number 28, Molly Penny. Number 4, Devin Lang. Number 33, Emma Toner. Number 13, Cameron Huckey. Number 36, Meg Langton. Number 14, Julia May O'Connor. Number 12, Annalisa LaMonica. Number 32, Sophia Novelli. Number 23, Kelsey Gorman. And in goal today for the Friars is number 24, Jess Black. And now let's get today's starting lineup for the Canaan Rams. Number 2, Sydney Patton. Number 4, Patty Crowley. Number 5, Phoebe Shue. Number 11, Ashton Pinkdale. Number 14, Ann Gilliam. Number 15, Emma Grzemski. Number 16, Ali Cecilia. Number 17, Larkin Celery. Number 25, Madison Girelli. Number 26, Lou Valente. Number 27, Emma Rowe. And in the goal tonight, the set for the Rams is number 38, C. Patterson. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise for the playing of the Star Spangled Banner.
Good afternoon. We are here with a joint broadcast with SE Productions and Canaan Athletics. Today we have a game versus New Canaan Rams and St. Anthony Friars. Myself, Tucker Stevens, joined alongside Dylan Hart. We have a great matchup today, Dylan. You know, two very talented teams with a lot of college players. You know, what are some things we need to be watching today, in your opinion?
I think some things to watch today, Tucker, is the matchup between these goalies. New Canaan, they have C.C. Patterson, the Notre Dame commit, and the #1 ranked goalie in the country. And for the Friars, they have Jessica Black, the Army commit, and I think this game's going to come down to both those goalies and how they play.
Yeah, for sure, Dylan. And, some key players to watch on the New Canaan side. You got Sydney Patton, UPenn, commit Midi, Emma Rowe, Columbia, attack, Ashton Pinkernell, Colgate, tack or Midi. Kind of see Pinkernell all over the field. And then for St. Anthony's, we have Devin Lange, Annalisa LaMonica, and Julie O'Connor all going on to play at the next level. We are about to get started here. Teams just meeting up before they break off for the first draw. It's a beautiful day out here, 77 degrees, Dylan. You can't ask for a better weather for a nice lacrosse game today, and I'm grateful to be up here in the booth with you.
Same here, Tuck. Yeah, beautiful day for a nice game. And when you got a chance to see two of the top teams in the country go at it, it's going to be a good one.
So for the draw for the Rams, we have Ashton Pinkernell. And for St. Anthony's, we have number 28.
That is Molly Heine, the John Hopkins commit.
This will be another great matchup to watch, Dylan, today. We got two really good people on the draw for both sides, and it'll be great to see as the refs are chatting before we start.
Yeah. You're talking about two great. They're about to get started.
Getting set here. Fighting for the ground ball here. Whistle blown. That ball's going with the Friars. Picked up by Catherine Regine. Shot scores right off the bat. That's Hinney. Ollie Hinney, number 28, the Johns Hopkins commit. The senior goes low, bottom right there, and that's a great start for the Friars. Dylan, what do you see there? What do the Rams need to do? That's a rough start.
Yeah,
got to figure something out.
I think defensively the Rams got to be better. 17 seconds into the game, really just a direct, just straight shot. But I think the Rams just got to bounce back.
Yeah, that's great job by St. Anthony's in transition. Quick, fast break, and was able to net that one on Patterson. Here we come back to the draw circle with Pinkernell and Hinney. The last draw was close, but a great ground ball by the Friars, and it'll be interesting to see how the draw circle plays out for the rest of the game. Someone went early.
Yeah.
That ball's going. Pinkernell wins it and comes down the field.
To Rowe. Oh.
Rowe goes down. Small injury here. Rose seems all right, picks up the ball. That's good to see. Swings it over to Crowley. Now over to Celebrity. Rams going around X here. Over back to Crowley, the USC commit senior. Crowley over to Shu. Shu down to Pinkernell. Celebrity, so taking it around X. Furman commit, junior. There's Patton. Patton back up to Rowe. Pinkernell dumps it in, gets put to the ground. And that ball's going to be staying with the Rams. Pinkernell with the 12-meter here. To see what she does here. I'm guessing going to pass it off. She just comes out. Swings it over to Crowley. Crowley back up to Patton. Skip pass. Over to Shu. Down to Cecilia. Here's Rowe from X. Over to Rowe. Rowe dumps it in, and that one's going to be picked up by the Friars. Dylan, that was a long possession there, and St. A's on the clear here, but, the Rams really didn't seem to get a shot off there. Is there anything, that you think they need to do better on that last possession?
Yeah, there's a lot of passing going on, but I think they just got to have someone take the shot, try to get a better way to set it up the play. But also there's been some great defense by St. Anthony's today.
For sure. St. Anthony's
so
doing
far.
very well with positioning, and see Gilliam swings it over. Gets it back over into the Rams' possession. See if, as Dylan was saying, we can get some more shots on goal here. It's going to be tough. You got to get good shots on a good goalie like Black, and you're not going to be able to score if you don't get enough shots on her, Dylan.
Yeah, you got to just get a shot.
Yeah.
So far, just a lot of passing, maybe trying to set up a play.
Patting over to Rowe. Rowe skip past Pinker now, the Colgate junior commit. Skip pass back to the crease.
Turnover.
They're just going to dump it off the Black there.
Yeah. Another good defensive.
Yeah, great defense. Not much the Rams could do there. You know, got to find something. Coach Woods, great coach, got to draw something up. St. A's in transition. Just passing it around. Up top. Over to Hinney. Hinney dodges on Patton. Now we have Crowley on defense against Rathjen. Rathjen dodges, tries to get top side. It's the roll dodge, double move, scores. Catherine Rathjen, the the Farley Dickinson, Florida State commit senior attackman, and that's a great goal. And she hits a roll dodge and then comes right back. It's almost like a little double roll there, and that's that one on Patterson. What is she doing right there? That's a great move there by her.
Yeah, she did a good job getting around the defender. Got a really good shot on the net. And look, for New Canaan, they just need to tighten up that defense. You can't have Patterson do everything.
Yeah, Patterson, great goal. He just hasn't
really got much help from the defense so far.
Has taken 2 great shots so far, and that they've both fallen. So the Rams have to figure out what to do defensively here.
It's definitely hard going against an offense like St. Anthony's.
Yeah, as we come back to the draw circle. Pinker now wins that one. That's a great draw by Pinker now, using her height to her advantage. And that ball gets checked out of her stick.
Great defense by St. Anthony's right there.
That is great defense. That turnover was forced by number 4, Devin Lange, the Princeton commit, and she takes it in transition right now upfield, and we got a whistle. And we're just going to continue play here with Rathjen. Rathjen over. St. Anthony's swinging it around X. That one up top to Sierra Grant, the Binghamton commit. Back down low, over to Rathjen. She already has one on the day. Back up top, setting something up here. They're going to try to get top side, and he splits dodge. Scores. That's a great shot there. I believe that was, trying to see the number. Number 8, Emma Speed. Speed, the senior.
Junior.
Speed, the junior attack. That was a great goal there by Speed.
Yeah, this New Canaan defense really needs to figure stuff out.
Really got to tighten
obviously
up,
a challenge against.
Yeah, this is one of the best. Best teams in the country. Took down Darien, and it's hard with this team. Dylan and I were talking before the game. They have 13 commits.
Just senior class alone.
That's just the senior class is 13 commits, and that's very impressive to see.
And I believe New Canaan has 7.
7 commits.
And 2 of them are injured.
2 of them, yeah.
Tully and Janiga?
Yeah, Tully's out with an ACL injury, and I believe Janiga's out with a back injury. And, those are both – that's a Davidson commit, and Janiga and Cornell commit, and Tully. And we've seen that take a huge toll on the Rams so far this year as New Canaan comes out with the ref's going to blow it the other way. That one's going with St. Anthony's. Picked up by Novelli. Novelli over to Rathjen's just going to take her time here, guarded by Addie Crowley. That's a big matchup we got to watch today is Crowley and Rathjen. You know, Rathjen already has one, but Addie Crowley, very talented player.
Yeah. USC commit.
USC going on to play at Southern California, and, you know, it's just one that we're going to have to keep our eyes on. Just swing it, take it back around, up top.
Just kind of set up a shot right here.
Comes back up top to Rathjen. Rathjen trying to set something up here.
I think she might take it.
Going to go over the top on Crowley. Swings it off. And she's double teamed by some Rams defender. That's great defense. Guarded by Patton. Patton with the turnover. That's a great forced turnover by Patton. Rams coming in transition on the fast break. Speed chases her down, and Rams set up with the fast break. Pinkernell off the post.
Good hard shot, though.
Yeah, that's a great shot by Pinkernell. You know, rings the iron there, Dylan. But you know, that's not a bad thing to see out of the Rams. You know, they finally get something on the.
They finally get a shot off.
Finally get a shot off, and I think just need to take more of those. You know, it's very hard, as we talked about, to score on a great goalkeeper like Jessica Black.
They just need a little swing of momentum. I think one goal, and then they could get rolling.
Yep.
Also, our apologies. We have a little bit of wind blowing in.
Yeah, it's all good. Comes up top to Speed. Speed using her speed.
Like that reference.
Great save by Patterson. Patterson tries to dive on that one. You're going to say that the ball went in and out on the Rams. Patterson does not like that call. And that ball is going to be taken out by St. Anthony's.
Great save by Patterson right there, though.
That is a great save, Dylan.
Showing why she's a Notre Dame commit.
Notre Dame commit for a reason. Patterson's a three-sport athlete, very impressive. Been playing three sports and going to one of the best lacrosse schools in the country as Rathjen dodges, and she scores bottom right corner. Rathjen, that's her second of the game.
And we're about 7 minutes in.
Yeah, Dylan, you know, we see Patterson meeting with the team right now, and, you know, what do you think she's saying to her defense? You know, what do they need to work on now that, you know, they're down 4-0, and that's not a great start from this historically great program, and what do you think they need to do to, you know, defensively to keep the ball out of the net?
I mean, looking at how this game started, I think Patterson's just really telling her defense they got to step it up because when you're down in a hole 4-0 already, and just a lot of like open lanes for these for the St. Anthony's team to get shots off, and I think New Canaan really needs to tighten up that defense because it's really hard for Patterson when you're not really getting much help.
Yeah, Patterson, great leader, captain on all those three sports, I believe, as well, Dylan. And, you know,
won a state championship with the soccer team.
Soccer team, girls soccer, had a great year. And then she was a captain with the girls basketball team, and now captain, huge leader for this lacrosse team. She's been in the net for 3 or 4 years now with the Rams. And, you know, timeout here taken by the Rams with 4:43 left to play in the first. And
I think it's a good time to call a timeout.
Yeah, you know, just
Coach Woods.
Take a second. That's a great timeout by Woods. And, you know, what do you think, you know, St. Anthony's is talking about right now? You know, what are they doing well, and is there anything they can really work on so far?
I mean, I think they're doing really good on both sides right now. Some great defense. Obviously, their offense has been on a roll. But I think their coach is probably telling them don't get too ahead of themselves. Don't get you just got to say what you're doing. Don't lay off a bit and just keep attacking and see if you could really blow this game out. But obviously with New Canaan, I think Coach Woods is also telling her team that they still have a chance. You're only down 4-0. You're one of the best teams in the country.
Also only 7 minutes
exactly.
into the game.
We got another 3 quarters to play after this too. So I think she's telling them just try to get one, and then you could use that momentum. And
Yeah, New Canaan's last game did not go their way against Darien, and you know it was a rough one for the Rams. And you know St. Anthony's actually took down that Blue Wave team, and you know it's shows on the scorecard. You know New Canaan definitely the underdog in this one, Dylan. So it's going to be interesting to see how they approach it now, coming back to the draw circle. And it looks like St. Anthony's is sending Rathjen out for the draw now, and Pinkernell will continue to do it for the Rams. Pinkernell's she's done great on the draw circuit so far. You know, you can't take that away from her.
And she had a great shot too.
She had a great shot, just wide off the post, and I think that one would have fallen if she got that, just an inch or two more inside. So be interesting to see where they go from here.
And you mentioned New Canaan's like kind of slow start to this year. I think a lot of that has to do with the absence of Tolley.
Yeah, Tolley, very talented player. Crowley and Hinney fighting for inside leverage on this draw. And that one goes down. Ref blows it dead. Looks like we're going to get a redraw here.
Pinkernell's not making it easy for the St. Anthony's team.
No, Pinkernell really using her height. She's very tall, and it's easier for her to win these draws and these big games. She's committed to Colgate for a reason.
Yeah, tall, something that we are not.
Yeah, Dylan and I are unfortunately
5'9".
5'9".
She wins it.
Wins the draw. Pinkernell dumps it off to Crowley. Over to Gilliam. Gilliam coming up. Senior, number 14. Canaan really taking their time, just getting the ball over, and now they get it into the offensive zone, and they're trying to set something up down here at X. That's number 25, Madison Ciaravelli. Pinkernell swings it to Rowe. Rowe, the Columbia commit, just drops that one, and we got a whistle blown dead, and that ball's going to be staying with the Rams, fortunately for them. And that's a great look, and that was a great cut by Emma Rowe, and it'll be interesting to see kind of where the Rams come now and what they do.
Yeah, that's some good signs from this Rams offense.
Rowe setting up with the 8-meter shot, trying to net this one for the Rams. Goes high, great check there by St. Anthony's. That's great defense, and St. A's quickly in transition here. What I've seen so far, Don, is St. Anthony's is ruthless on the transition game.
Yeah.
They get it over quick, speed, dumps it down to X. St. Anthony's swinging it around over the Rathjen. Rathjen already has 2 on the day, over to Hinney. St. Anthony's really taking their time on this possession, and Hinney sets up the dodge on Patton. Both very talented players.
Good save by Patterson.
Patterson's also not making it easy. Patterson, she has let up 4 goals, but Crowley gets pushed down.
Can't do that.
She goes down, and
if you're New Canaan, you want to hope that this is not serious.
Rathjen gets a yellow card there, and we're gonna step aside here for a second. Crowley gets back up onto her feet, and she walks off the field. That's great to see. Crowley, a very talented player, and it's great to see her get up and walk off. Big shout out to Shayna, great athletic trainer here for New Canaan. Shayna's a very great athletic trainer, and fortunately I get to do my internship with her for my senior internship, and that'll be a very good time with her and Corey.
Lucky.
So Patterson gets the ball. Rathjen was just given the yellow card, and
you can't do that.
She'll be out in the box, and that's a 2-minute penalty on Rathjen, and that could play a huge toll. And this is a great time for the Rams to use the man up to their advantage and hopefully get the goal. As Gilliam can't pick up the ball there, and that one's going with St. A's, and quickly in transition here. Guarded by Shu here. That's Speed. Speed swings it up to Hinney. St. Anthony's really just going to want to drain the clock here, milk that penalty out, and it'll see where they can go from here as they just keep swinging it around. Good defense there. That's Digatano. Sorry, that's Valente. St. A's really taking their time here, trying to drain out the clock, and that's Speed. Speed takes it down to X, and really just running circles around this New Canaan team so far. Come back around, guarded by Shu. Down to X. Comes up top, tries to get top side.
Valente on the defense right now.
Valente playing great defense so far on Toner. Toner, very talented player, committed to play at Lafayette. Another one of those big Division I commits, Dylan.
Yep, a lot on this team.
Yeah, only 25 seconds left on this penalty as we got a whistle here, and it's just going to stay with the Friars. Dylan, the Friars come from Long Island, and that's a long bus ride on a beautiful Saturday, and they came out very strong, and it's very interesting to see how they can just get off the bus and play such a talented team and still come away 4-0 with just under a minute left in this quarter now as the penalty is released and Rathjen comes back onto the field. And
we mentioned how they have that long bus ride and they come in up 4-0 already. That just points out you got to give credit to their coaching.
Yes.
That's a great save.
It's a last-second whistle there, but it was a great save by Patterson. That one's going to stay with the Friars. From the 8-meter mark here. See what her approach is. She's going to pass it down to X. Comes around, gets topside, and scores. That's number 5 there for St. Anthony's. We don't have a number 5.
Oh, it's
Madison Sussy. That's a great goal by Sussy there. And
the junior.
The junior, yes, Dylan. And does a great job there coming around X and, gets topside. Great cut and quick finish for the Friars. And, it's great to see. Addie Crowley steps back onto the field for the Rams.
That's a good sign.
That's a good sign for her and the Rams. Very talented player, comes back on, and hopefully she can make a difference in this game, Dylan.
Yep. It's still a lot left, so just gotta tighten things up defensively and get some offense going.
Pinkernell and Rathjen back on the draw, and Pinkernell continues to do well.
Been a bright spot so far today. Is her on these draws.
And Rathjen comes out with that one. That's St. Anthony's second draw win, and we've had a lot of them, but Patton on the defense on Rathjen there, and that one's going to be staying with the Friars on the whistle. Over to Hinney. Hinney back up top.
New Canaan defense is looking a bit more aggressive right here.
Yeah, it's good to see. Oh, we got a whistle blown, and it's a green card there. Ball's going to be coming away with the Rams. That's Shu.
Yeah, got to score quick.
Yeah, you got 9 seconds left, and the Rams are just going to want to try to get one final shot on goal, and they might not be able to do that with 4 left. Here's Shu. Shu running down, and that's the end of the first quarter. St. Anthony Friars up 5-0 against the New Canaan Rams, and Dylan, not a great start here for New Canaan, and great start for the Friars off that long bus ride. And what do you think the Rams need to do to step up here?
I mean, it starts with the defense. 5 goals in the first quarter is a little bit rough, but they obviously need to tighten things up. But also offensively, you got to start getting some momentum. I think we've only seen, 2 shots on goal so far today, one by Pinkernell and then one by Rowe. And this is a team that can go on a run. Great offense, obviously, and they really need to get something going.
Yeah, I think their transitioning game needs to be a little stronger, a little more aggressiveness on the ground balls, and be able to bring it up top, and try to get a nice fast break opportunity, because they haven't done great at settled possessions yet, and I think they're going to need to find a way, Dylan, to just get as many shots on net as possible. The transition game is really where it could pay off. Their clears haven't been going the way. St. Anthony's doing a great job on the ride, and it'll be interesting to see kind of where the Rams go from here as Coach Woods talks to her team, and St. Anthony's on the other side looking very happy with their first quarter, as they should.
Can't blame them when you're playing like this.
Patterson's been playing a great game. We haven't seen too much out of Black yet. As we were saying, the Rams haven't gotten too many shots off. And the West Point commit, very talented lacrosse program over there, and she seemed very ready for this game. We were watching the warm-up. She was hyping her team up, and very good, talented leader for this St. Anthony's team. Come back out. shortly for second quarter. St. Anthony's starting to take the field here, and Coach Wood's still talking with their team, and we should see the Rams back out on the field shortly. Rams about to break their huddle and come back onto the field. St. Anthony's looking very excited about that first quarter as they approach the field, as Rathjen comes back out to take this first draw. Here comes Pinkernell and the Rams.
Looks like it's the same lineup as from the start of the game for New Canaan.
Yeah, not too many substitutions for either side. Coach Woods has a lot of trust. We were talking before the game, Dylan. Only 24 girls on this team, and compared to St. Anthony's, where it's around 40 players. So Coach Woods likes to keep that roster small, which I think is a good idea at times. You got your one close-knit team, and it'll be interesting to see kind of how, if she makes any substitutions and changes to this game. The ref getting set here for the draw. That one we got a false start. That ball staying with the Rams. Pinkernell over to Crowley. Crowley's just going to pull it out and slow things down here.
See if they could develop something.
Crowley over to Patton. Patton over to Celebrity. Celebrity rolls. Swings it back up top to Patton. Over to Rowe. Rowe back down, and that pass just a little outside of the reach of Larkin Celebrity, and St. Anthony's going to pick this ball back up and go from here. That ball, Jessica Blackett's, her first touch of the game on the clear, and she's going to go long there, and that one just goes out of bounds. That's a great job by Emma Rowe and the Rams matching up there and on that clear, and here we got Crowley taking the ball up and slowing things down here. Crowley takes the field. Just gonna roll and trying to find someone. Now we got Gillen with the ball. Gillen running it up. St. Anthony's just really strong on the defensive possession, making it very difficult for the Rams to even just get a pass off, Dylan. And we talked about how they need to get more shots on goal, and they haven't been able to do that so far. Here's Patton. Patton hits 2 split dodges and keeps coming around, and it's great defense, and swings it over to Shu. Shu to Rowe. Rowe's going to split, go the other way, and Celebrity can't get that one. That's kind of the second miscommunication we've had there, Dylan. Rams they seem to be off right now, and that's not something we normally see out of this talented team. And we got St. Anthony's on the clear. Dylan, we talked about it, very fast on transition game, and do you think that's what's been paying off for them so far?
I think so. Their ability to adjust, and I think that's also catching New Canaan off guard. The defenders aren't having enough time to react.
Yeah, a lot of great backdoor cuts so far from St. Anthony's as they get set here. Over to Hinney. Hinney down to Speed. Speed dodges on Crowley. Takes it back out, dodges again. She's pushed outside. Great feed to the crease, and another goal. That one scored by number 13. That's a great shot and goal.
Great assist
by Sierra Grant, the Binghamton commit. It's just a great goal there. And Dylan, what do you think? What do you think the Rams got to do? We keep talking about it. These backdoor cuts are just killing them so far.
Yeah. Defensively, they need to step up. It's been a rough start, but I think they can lock in and really tighten up that defense, and that's something they're going to need to do if they want to win.
Yeah, for sure. And
But also, you can't take away credit from St. Anthony's. This offense has been.
They've had a great shot selection,
amazing.
as we said. We keep saying it's very hard to get a shot past Patterson, and they're shooting, sticks opposite side of her stick and low, and that's very hard as a goalie to save. St. Anthony has very powerful shots, and that's what's been paying off for them so far as we come back to the draw circle. And Rams make a substitution on the draw, and that one's won. Henney picks it up. Henney comes away with it, keeps coming down. Great check there. Great trail check there by Phoebe Shue.
There you go. That's a good defensive play.
Yeah, the Rams, they got some light in them. Gillum on the clear. Gillum running it up. Senior going to Middlebury College next year, just for academics. Over to Speed. Speed goes down. That's Christie. Christie's going to swing it over. Down to X. Back up top to Rathjen. Rathjen goes up top. They're going to keep swinging it back and forth here. Over to Rathjen. St. Anthony's really likes this isolation between Crowley and Rathjen, and Crowley playing great defense on her, but Rathjen just able to get some great shots, and that's a great save there by number 38 CC Patterson, and that one's just going to be turned over again by the Rams. Dylan, this clear game for the Rams just has not been paying off, and
there's been a lot of miscommunication passing.
Yeah, but again, as you keep saying, we got to give credit to the Friars. Their rides have been on point today.
Oh yeah, they're a very well coached team. Obviously, both teams are, but the Friars, they're really coming out hot today.
And there's another one. Believe that's number 3 there. Number 3, Anna Christie, the junior midfielder, will be able to net that one. And it's a great goal there for them as Patterson, just keeps telling these Rams defense what to do.
Yeah, obviously defensively, we're going to need a little bit of things to go New Canaan's way. And also, if you're Patterson, obviously you're down by 7, but you can't, let that get in your head.
Yeah, what has been killing the Rams has been these backdoor cuts. Rathjen has been the main dodger, but even when they're not dodging, they're just these cuts, Dylan, from coming around crease have just been on point, and it's what's been able to work for them so far is come back to the draw circle here, and looks like we're having Rathjen. Pinkernell's still not out there for the Rams. That's Riley Schlafman. Schlafman is a freshman, getting great time on this varsity team, which is very impressive to see, to play for such a high-caliber program at a young age. And Henney comes away with that one, and Henney's going to be guarded by Crowley. Down back to X. They're going to swing it over to Speed. Speed goes up top to Christie. Christie up top. Over to Henney. Dylan, I don't know. You probably agree with me on this one. St. Anthony's kind of, they're taking their time on their possessions and, just only taking 1 or 2 shots, and it's really been paying off for them. Great shot selection so far. Goes up top. Here's Christie, and we got a whistle blown, and trying to see what we have here. I think we have some Rams in her shooting lane, so that's going to be an 8-meter free play here. See what the Rams' approach to this one is. As got Patton, I believe that's Shue, ready to go, and she's just going to pass it out there, Dylan. Here's Henney. Henney goes down, high pass there, and she's going to be able to recover it. Back up top to Henney. Henney dodges. That's great defense so far by Sia Varelli. Over to Speed. Speed guarded by Patton. Great split dodge. Comes back around, rolls. Back down. There's Henney. We got a whistle blown. Ball staying with the Friars there. Not sure what the call was. It looks like we got some sort of reach.
Yeah.
And St. Anthony's going to come back out. And, Valente's been playing great defense for this team. Valente, the freshman, great family of athletes. Jake Valente, great football player. And just as a freshman, Lulu Valente getting a lot of playing time on this lacrosse team for the Rams.
Jake's also a baseball player as well.
Jake's a big baseball player too, and that one's a goal by, that one's Henney. Number 28, Henney. Henney is going on to play at Johns Hopkins, as we talked about, the senior, and she's had a great game so far in the draw circle and and shooting. I believe that's her second
goal, I believe.
Second of the game.
Yeah.
And Friars go up 8-0 going in with 5 minutes and 51 seconds left in this first half.
Yeah, New Canaan, they're going to need some more momentum here and really just tighten up the defense and try to get a goal.
Yeah, I think we need to see some more dodging from their talented players that we talked about at the beginning. You know, we got Pat and Emma Rowe, you know, such talented players that haven't really been able to get anything. And we see Schlaffman come back out for the draw, and it seems like the Rams have brought Pinkernail down to attack. That might be a matchup that Coach Woods wants to see down there. And, you know, Schlaffman and Rathjen going to come at this one. And Schlaffman gets the face-off win, or draw win, excuse me. Been doing a lot of men's lacrosse recently and make a little mistake there.
Big game tonight against Darien.
Big night, yeah, coming up 4:30. Make sure to tune into that one. It's Gillum getting rode hard here. And that one's checked out. Great check by Emma Speed. Friars in transition. One-on-one versus the goalie, and that's a great goal. What a goal there. You know, the Friars, you know, breakaway goal, and that's Anna Christie, and that's her second of the game, and second or third, Dylan. I think that's her second, but
pretty sure second.
Second, and, you know, that's just the Rams. You know, Gillum drops the ball, and
yeah, it was that was obviously some good defense by the Friars.
It's just great ride, and, you know, they just seem to be really connected very well. You know,
led to a one-on-one matchup with
Christie
Patterson.
just runs right down the field, and there's no one back there. You know, Gillum was trying to get the ball out, and
I mean,
you know,
with Gillum, there's I believe 3 defenders on here. Really, not much he can do.
Yeah, you know, maybe try to get the pass off a little quicker, but that's really where the Friars have been winning this game, is in ground balls and transition, and they go up 9-0 here, and 5 minutes 25 seconds left in the first half, as Patton will pick this one up. Patton, very talented player.
Let's see if New Canaan
We
can
got a
get
whistle,
something
and that
right
one's
here.
going to stay with Patton. Patton's running around here.
Each need some help right here.
Patton family, a lot of great athletes. You know, she got one sister playing lacrosse also at Penn, and then another soccer player at Fairfield, I believe. And here's Shu. FUP Shu, the junior. Friars just really set nicely on this defense so far, and they're going to dump it off to Pinkernail at X. Pinkernail comes up top to Patton. Patton's going to dodge here, initiates the dodge, dumps it off to Pinkernail. Pinkernail pulls it out, over back to Patton.
Tight defense by St. Anthony's.
Definitely, Dylan. Patton and Pinkernail really working hard together, and that's that junior-senior connection. A lot of veterans on this team, and, you know, that's something we haven't been seeing too much on the boys' side of the field. Is we've seen, you know, freshman Gray Wildman and sophomore Matt Reed have, you know, really been taking charge for the Rams offense, and that's kind of the difference we've seen in these two programs. Both pay off. You know, there's definitely some ups and downs of both of them. Patton dodges. We got a whistle blown by the ref, and Patton's going to get an 8-meter here on the 8 mark, and she gets ready. As hopefully she'll be able to. This is a great opportunity for Patton to net the Rams' first goal of the game. Jessica Black gets set, and there we go. Patton scores. Great goal by the UPenn commit, Sydney Patton, and, you know, St. Anthony's, that's an unfortunate call, and, you know, the Rams lucky to get that shot, and that's a great shot. You know, Patton goes bottom right, and that's just a great take. You know, committed to UPenn for a reason, Dylan.
Yeah, great shot by Patton, and this could be a little chance to get a momentum swing. The Rams finally got their first goal, and maybe they could go on a run.
Yeah, Dylan, you know, I think what might have paid off more for the Rams in the beginning would just been taking more time with their possessions and finding good opportunities like that one. And, you know, it's every lacrosse team has their own way of playing, and, you know, it's going to be hard. You know, the Rams, you know, lacrosse very fast-moving sport, so it's not like they have to speed things up anytime soon, but, you know, maybe just taking more time with their possessions, and that'll be their best way to, you know, find luck in this game and hope for more opportunities like that.
Talk, you're yourself a former lacrosse player. Like, how would you say, how challenging is it, like, when you have a transition like that? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, so I was an attackman, Dylan, and, you know, the hardest part of an attackman is, you know, you just got to be able to ride hard, and that's what St. Anthony's has been doing. And, you know, the Rams, their clear game hasn't been amazing so far, and I think Coach Woods might need to draw some other type of clear up. I'm sure she's got a lot of tricks up her sleeve, and it'll be interesting to see if she changes anything on the clear side of the game. And come back down to X with Christie. Christie over to Speed. Speed goes up top. Back to Speed.
Kind of just passing it around right now.
Yeah, this is what they've been doing so far. Just
Yeah.
swinging it around, finding the right matchup they want to take, and
And taking the shot when they have it.
taking the shot, and they've been able to net them all.
They're playing very smart. A lot of chemistry too. I haven't seen many passes that have been like at high or out of reach.
Yeah, and they're just taking their time, and there's definitely no need for the Friars to rush anything right now.
Yeah. Well, you can't get too ahead of yourself.
No, definitely don't. And here we have a dodge initiated on Gillum. Back down to Speed.
I think they're about to set up a shot.
Speed guarded by Patton. Speed.
Yep. Good
Great save by Patterson. As Speed picks that one back up and dumps that one in. That is a great rebound by Speed. Dylan, that great initial save by Patterson.
Yeah.
And just what a job by Speed to just pick it up and dump it right back down.
That's some tough luck for Patterson. Makes a great save, but Speed had great reaction and just flipped it in.
Yeah.
Not much you can really do right there as a goalie.
Yeah, Friars go up 10-1, and 2 minutes and 35 seconds left in this second quarter, and gonna be interesting to kind of see the approach going from here, as we have Schlafman staying on the face-off draws, and she'll be going up against Rathjen. Here's Schlafman. Ref helps them get set.
Big size differential on that draw.
Yeah, it's a great win there, and New Canaan comes out with a great scoop there by Patton. Patton coming in transition here, using her speed to her advantage. And that one gets checked out of her stick, but we got a whistle blown. That one's staying with the Rams. Patton will pick it up.
Great break by Patton. Came down the field quick.
That one's swung down low. That one down to Pinkernell. Pinkernell rolling around, swings it back. Now we have Larkin Celebrity, the Furman commit, junior. Goes back up top to Patton. Patton already has one on the day. Over to Rowe. Rowe's going to split, put it in her right. Down to Pinkernell. Susanna Moore takes the ball, number 21. Great feed there to Shu, and that one she just can't take that shot. That's, once again, just great defense, Dylan. It's not a bad look for the Rams.
Oh, yeah, that looked good.
It's a great take, but unfortunately they just weren't able to get that shot off.
Yeah, Susanna Moore also had a good pass to Shu. Just tough luck right there. I mean, Moore, I believe her sister is Davidson commit for track.
Yeah, so Moore family, great athletes, and Susanna Moore just a sophomore, so it's great to see Coach Woods working some younger girls into this game, and it'll be great to see for the future of this Rams team as St. Anthony's once again just taking the possession slow over to Christie. Christie up to Speed. 1 minute, as Bill Brown just announced for us, left in the second quarter. And, we're going to have Rathjen take it. Rathjen back down, and there's Christie once again up top to the wing to Speed. Here's Rathjen. Rathjen already has 2 on the day. Very talented player.
I think they're going to get ready to set up a shot soon.
Yeah, Rathjen guarded here by Sia Varelli. It's great defense by Sia Varelli. He's going to split, puts it back into her right, fakes the shot. Takes another great save by Patterson as we have a whistle blown. Looks like someone was in her shooting lane there as Rathjen's going to pick it up, and Rathjen's not someone you want taking the ball from the 8-meter mark, Dylan.
Not at all. But let's see if New Canaan can step up right here.
Rathjen taking her time as we're waiting for the ref here. Ref blows the whistle. Rathjen, step down shot, top right. That is a great shot and goal by Rathjen. The velocity on that shot,
a lot
Dylan.
of velo right there.
Yeah, Patterson was just slayed on it, and Patterson, great goalie, but Rathjen nets her third. That's a hat trick, Dylan. And
yeah, in the first half too, as we're about to head to halftime right
heading
here.
into halftime here as we come into halftime, 11-1 Friars, and Dylan just not a great start for the Rams. It's going to be interesting to see kind of their approach from here.
And they're down 10 too.
Yeah,
usually this is when you'd start running the clock.
Yeah, hopefully, St. Anthony's can get some other players in the game and, just experiment with some younger players. And that might be a good opportunity for the Rams to net someone, maybe come back here. We'll see kind of where they go from here. And going to step aside here as a joint broadcast between Canaan Athletics and SE Productions. We are live here again, back at Dunning Stadium. Joint broadcast between SE Productions and New Canaan Athletics. Myself, Tucker Stevens, alongside Dylan Hart. Dylan, rough start for the Rams, down 11-1 to the St. Anthony Friars. Rathjen and Christie have put on a show so far, and what do the Rams need to do here? And going into this second half, step up and have a big comeback ahead of them, Dylan.
I think they got to be more aggressive on offense. Look, you're down 10. You got to really just start getting shots off. Really, you can't really pass around the whole time. You just got to get something on the board. And then defensively, I think St. Anthony's is going to play a little bit more conservative offensively. I don't think they're going to really be as aggressive as they've been so far. But defensively, you just got to really try and get some stops and set up your offense.
Yeah, Dylan, and halftime just about over. Rams taking a while to break their huddle. Hopefully Coach Woods was able to draw something up on the clear game, especially, Dylan. That's where they've been struggling so far, and just the transition game in general. St. Anthony's really quick and thinks on the fly, and they're able to get that ball over really quickly and get shots on goal as Rams break their huddle and run back onto the field. Patterson hasn't been playing terribly. She has a lot of saves. She's gotten, she has 11 goals let up, but St. Anthony's has probably taken, 15, 16 shots, and it's no goalie has a perfect save percentage. It's very hard to save the lacrosse ball, and Patterson still has some great saves, and it is the #1 goalie in the country for a reason in the 2025 class. But Black also, Dylan, as we've talked about, very talented goaltender for St. Anthony.
I think there's only been 4 shots on her.
4 shots on her.
But now this is one of those games for Patterson where the scorecard's not going to look pretty, but actually watching the game, you could see that she has done a good job.
Yeah, she's doing the best she can.
It's hard when it's 2v1s, 3v1s almost every time.
Yes, we're going to get Henny. Henny took the first couple of draws, going up against Schlaffman now instead of Pinkernell. Pinkernell staying on the attack side of the ball. And
Schlaffman's done pretty good so far.
Schlaffman's had a great game as well.
I mean on draw.
Schlaffman comes out with that one. Great draw win
Another
for
win.
Schlaffman. Great to see for the future of the Rams. We have a whistle blown, and that one's going to stay with the Rams. Shu takes it. Shu. Not totally sure what happened.
I don't know what
there.
that's called.
It looks like that ball went out of bounds there, Don. And here's St. Anthony's in transition as we get Rathjen. Rathjen having a great game, Dylan.
Yeah.
2 goals already, or 3 goals. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
She's the hat trick, and it'll be interesting to see if they continue to utilize her or try to get some of the young girls into the game and get them some action.
See if they stay conservative here.
Just swinging it around like they have been all game and looking for that opportunity.
Looks like they're just going to take a shot.
Speed over to Rathjen. Rathjen goes to the middle, and there's a lot of girls there in that lane, and it's going to stay there with St. Anthony's as Rathjen's going to come with the 8-meter mark shot and see what she does. She had a great feed on one earlier, Dylan. If you remember, I believe it was their 8th goal. Swung it down to X, and she's just going to shoot that one. Great save by Patterson. That one going to go up, and Gillum almost gets that one up as Patterson comes out of the net.
Oh, she's got it back.
She's out of the net, but she's going to run back in. St. Anthony's got to push something here. Patterson gets back into the net. Nothing happened bad as St. Anthony swings it down. Great goal there. That's 3. That's Christie. I believe that's her 3rd, Dylan.
Yep. Great shot. Not much you can do right there.
Yeah,
but
it's Patterson really taking charge here, telling her defense what they need to do to fix it. And
she made a couple good saves right there,
Patterson
too.
had some great saves there.
Yeah.
She can't get in her head. She's playing great. It's just hard to really step up here as come back to the draw circle with Schlaffman and Henny. Henny's played a great game as well. Canaan definitely dominating on the draw circle, though, Dylan.
Yeah, they've looked good.
We see in the boys' games, with JT O'Neill, he's when he wins the faceoffs, it pays off for them. But fortunately today for the draws and the girls, it's not paying off for them the wins. Although they are winning, it's just St. Anthony's playing very aggressive.
Speaking of
come back to the draw. And
St. Anthony's gets it. But speaking of JT, I think he's going to have a pretty good game tonight against Darien since they don't really have a set face-off guy.
Darien struggles on the face-off effects sometimes. And
JT, the Colby commit.
JT, very talented Fogo, and that'll be a great game. Make sure to tune in on DAF Media. It's a joint production between NCTV and DAF, and with our PJ Neville, the man. PJ and I announced a lot of the boys' games together, and unfortunately I won't be there on the mic with him today, but he'll be over there, and I'll make sure to tune in myself, as that's going to be a great game. Dylan.
A big lacrosse guy, you talk.
I am a big lacrosse guy. I love the sport. Grew up playing it. Unfortunately, don't play anymore. And that's another goal for St. Anthony's. That one scored by number 33, Emma Toner, the Lafayette commit. Friars go up here, and I believe that is 13-1 now. Friars and Dylan. It's just St. Anthony's giving a lot of different girls looks. We got Rathjen and Christy got their hat tricks, but then we got a lot of goals from other players as well. And it's very good to see from the Friars. The different approaches they have to going to the goal. They've scored in all sorts of different ways, and the Rams just got to get the ball into the offensive zone. We haven't seen it too much. Is come back to the draw circle. Schlaffen playing amazing from the draw circle so far. Ref doesn't like something. The setting seems off. I'm just going to adjust the sticks here maybe. Another big announcement. Our new baseball field just got finished. Capo Field over by Waveney Park. And, it's a great venue. And Dylan will be announcing that baseball game against Darien, and that'll be a very good one.
No more tree in center field.
No, that'll be good to see as Pat gets hit in the head there.
Oh, can't do that.
She seems all right. That's good. As she'll pick it up and just run away. Pat's so tough playing. She already has the goal for the Rams. This score is not going to stop her from, just being a dog out there. And, she's pushing it hard as Shu takes it, guarded by Hinney.
Tuck, you ever play baseball when you were younger?
I played baseball till second or third grade. Love the sport. Big Yankee fan.
Go Mets, dude.
Yeah, I don't know if that's where we disagree, but unfortunately, I went with the lacrosse route, and I love lacrosse, but part of me always wishes I still played baseball.
Yeah, I wish I took a different route.
Yeah, Dylan, tough rotator cuff injury when he was younger, and
sophomore year, flew out, and now I'm like Shaq on the Celtics. If you asked me to go play some baseball, dude.
Unfortunately, Dylan is not on the baseball team anymore.
I'm washed.
He's washed, and
yeah.
we gotta see. Hopefully Dylan will have a great time in college. He's going off to Charleston. Dylan, congratulations. Dylan announced that one the other day, just for academics, but Dylan, huge congrats to you.
Be there for about a year, and then.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Man.
Nice little got into the honors program there. So.
Yeah, it's awesome. Black with the clear here. St. Anthony's done a great job in transition. Just pushing the ball down the field. They're gonna come down and bring it down to X.
Speaking of colleges, we got Tucker, Bowdoin commit.
Yeah, I'll be
for football.
I will be playing football now. Really exciting, and love the sport. Going off to play Maine, and got a lot of. Speaking of commits, we got we got a lot of commits here. 13 seniors for the Friars, and
New Canaan has 7.
7 commits for the Rams, but the Rams do have a lot smaller of a roster. If you look at the two benches right now, it's Friars bench Dylan. It's almost twice the size. As Rathjen comes dodging on Crowley. Crowley and Rathjen have been going at it today, and that one's dumped to the crease, and she gets pushed down, and we got a push here, and that one's gonna be staying with St. Anthony's, and she's gonna line up from the 8-meter mark. This is another great opportunity for St. Anthony's to net one, as we got just under 5.5 minutes going in this quarters. Dylan says Bill Brown was telling us, the man over there, once we get to 10, the scores with a 10-point differential, it's running clock, and it's going to be very hard for the Rams to bounce back, with the running clock, and it's very hard to come back when that's going on, but it definitely pays off for St. Anthony's. Beat the storm coming, get back on the bus. That one shot just goes wide. Speed comes with the chase, and she's just gonna let that one roll out, but she'll be able to pick it up and start over their possession there.
Speaking of Bill Brown, shout out to great golf coach. What, the boys and the girls?
Yeah, girls golf undefeated right
Yeah.
now. Yep, girls golf undefeated.
Boys also had a great year, too.
Great save off Patterson's helmet there. Gillum fighting for it. Got a
Ooh.
whistle blown. Someone got checked in the arm there. That one's coming.
New Canaan's
Rams
ball.
coming away with
Yeah.
it. Gonna give it off.
Speaking of commits for boys golf, we have Brooks Thompson committed to Gettysburg,
Yep. And
coached by Mr. Brown right
Mr.
over here.
Brown, the man. Another whistle blown. St. Anthony's playing aggressive, Dylan.
Yeah, I thought they'd be a bit more conservative, but
Yeah, no stopping down.
Yeah.
Gillum takes the ball, and we got Rathjen right behind her.
Oh.
Swings it over. That one bad pass by Gillum. That's not the best.
oh, this is a good
Rathjen
matchup.
swings, girls
good
underhand.
D.
Great D. That one hits off her leg, but she's arguing for something. But they're not going to give it to her. Patterson also arguing now with the ref. And the Rams don't like what they see there, and that shot was blocked. Maybe a big follow through there could be the call, and we'll see kind of where things go from here. St. Anthony swings it up top to Henney. Henney running around with it. Patton was just exchanging some words with the refs, maybe just arguing that last call with the Rams questions, and Patton just taking leadership, even though she's on the attack side of the ball. Just trying to help out there. Is going to get a shot
Good
off
save.
the crossbar
That was
there,
off the
Dylan.
bar, yeah.
That was a great take there by St. Anthony's. Henney comes back up with it. Just going to start over their possession. Henney guarded by Gillum. Down to Christie. Swings it across X. Now back up. Over to Henney. Henney having a great game so far. They have her on a lot of the draws, and the draws haven't really been going her way. She only has a couple wins down there, but she's been playing great on the offensive side of the ball
goals.
and defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. I mean, this whole team really has.
Yeah, here's the Lafayette commit. Emma Toner with the ball, dumps it off. Here's Christie. Christie up top to Henney. Henney roll dodge, puts it in her left. Back out. Across to Christie. Christie dodges, puts it in her right. Back down to X. Good cut there, and they're just going to slow things back down, pull it out, and just take their time. No need to rush as we got just under 2.5 minutes of play now in this third quarter as ball's loose, and
Really battle for
Christie comes out with it.
Yeah.
Dylan, St. Anthony's really winning the ground ball game.
Yeah. I think the New Canaan defense looked a little bit better right there.
Rathjen takes a shot just wide. Patterson does a great job coming out of her neck there, getting a shooting lane, telling your team, Patterson's just leading, setting example for the defense. She can't win this game by herself, Dylan, and it's obviously everything's possible, but it's going to be very hard if they can't step up, and Patterson just can't carry this team on her back the entire game. Shot there. There's a goal. That's Christie. That's her third or fourth, I believe, Dylan.
I think that might be her fourth.
That's her fourth. Great job there. And
That'll make it 13-1.
Patterson arguing at some
Oh, my bad. 14-1.
14-1 Friars, yeah. Friars go up. Emma Christie, that's her fourth of the game, we believe, and coming back to the draw circle, the Rams got to get some more offensive possessions going. You got a great attack line. You got Patton, Ashton Pinker now, and then you got Shu and all these great players, and you got to get the ball over there. Schlaffen's been doing a great job on the draw control, but just got to find a way to get that ball over the 35-yard line that starts the possession zone.
Yeah.
Here's the draw referee helping them get set. Henney comes out with that one. That's like her third or fourth win of the game. She's really starting to step up on the draw control, and going to go behind over to Rathjen. Rathjen taking her time with the ball. That falls out of Christie's stick, but luckily the one's that close to her, and she's able to get away with it as it comes back up top over to Toner. Toner back up. Here's Rathjen. Rathjen dodging on Crowley. They've been going at it all game. Both very talented commits, and Rathjen's just going to step out there. The Florida State commit feeds it up top to Henney. Henney shot, great save.
Good
Patterson
save.
goes stick side high, and it's not the best shot selection. You don't want to shoot it towards the stick, but Patterson does make a great save, and you can't take that away from her. Emma Rowe struggling to pick it up.
There you go.
Rowe pushes down. Pinkernell's
I'd
wide
pass
open
it
in
to Pink.
transition.
2-on-1.
Here's a great job. Shot. Great save. Black. Pinkernell
And
scores on the buzzer. They're going to call it a goal. Ashton Pinkernell. Or was that Phoebe Shu?
I believe that was Pinkernell, number
I
11.
believe that was Pinkernell, but
Yeah, it was Pinkernell.
that was Pinkernell. Pinkernell. Ashton Pinkernell, the Colgate commit. Junior having a great game herself, Dylan. You know, while gets the buzzer beater, Dylan. That's a great goal by Pinkernell. You know, Pinkernell family, great family, and you know she does a great job netting that one and at the buzzer. And you know the Rams get a goal. You know,
they're getting something. That's a good sign.
Got some light. You know, hopefully maybe a comeback story here as they're up 12.
I mean, nothing's impossible.
Nothing's impossible. Dylan. Lacrosse, very fast moving sport. We're gonna see what happens here. You know,
Pinkernell's had a good game both on the draws and she's.
Yeah, Pinkernell, great game. I think so far for the Rams, you know, Patterson and Pinkernell are my players of the game, and you know, for the St. Anthony so far, I have probably Rathjen. Black's been doing good. You know, she hasn't had too many shots.
There's a couple that you could.
Yeah, and then Christy. You know, there's a lot of ways you can go for the St. Anthony's team. Really spreading out the ball and giving everyone a look. Their defense has been also playing amazing, and you know, it's going to be interesting to see what Coach Woods is saying to her team. Dylan, what would you be saying to your team in this? I know you're more of a baseball guy, but you know, like just as a coach, what would you be saying to your team right now, down by this much of a deficit?
Well, something about baseball is you gotta have a really short memory, and you also need that in lacrosse. And I think she's just probably telling her team, look, you just got a goal, you got a little bit of momentum. Don't give up. Just play it like it's a 0-0 game, and use that same mentality. Don't look at it like you're down 12, because if you think positive, there's a good chance that positive things will happen and things could start going your way.
Yeah, you know, hopefully the Rams just take it goal by goal, and you know they have definitely some good looks. As you know, they've been doing, like, when they do get the ball and they have the ball in transition, they're doing great. It's just they're struggling to get in the transition game to get the ball over the half field mark, and that one horn blows, and we're about to come out. Team's about to break their huddles. Rams lift their sticks up in the air and you know break it down. And you know, Dylan, you excited for this big game between the Blue Wave and Rams today, the boys game? It should be a good one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. You going to be attending that?
I'll be there, Dylan. You know, excited to watch.
Nice.
You know, watch Bryce Lyden and the boys take on the Blue Wave. You know, it's always a great rivalry, and you know.
You think it's going to be a net today, Lyden or?
Well, Lyden and Kroll have been
Jack?
switching off.
Switch
two
on and off,
quarters
yeah.
each. So that'll be. They're both very talented. I forget who the Darien goalie is.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he's been doing well, I believe. And
yeah, solid team that they
yeah,
have.
I take Kroll and I would take Jack Kroll and Lyden over anyone. So
yeah,
it'd be interesting to see. You know,
what, Kroll only a sophomore too?
Kroll, a sophomore, starting at 3 sports.
And then Lyden's also the Michigan commit.
With
his brother Bryce.
Yeah. As we have Pinkernell here.
Back on draw.
It'll be interesting to see. It's good to see Pinkernell back on the draw. A lot of success out of her. Schlaffman did a great job on the draw control as well. As Pinkernell wins that one. It flings over to the attack side for the Rams, and gonna get a restart here on the draw. Patton gives the ball to the ref. Rams with the faces to draw. That one flung over to the Rams offensive side as St. Anthony's going to come across with it. St. Anthony's really keeping their starters in still. You know, interesting to see. You know, a lot of times teams will start putting their younger players in.
Yeah.
Not St. Anthony's. Very talented team.
Fast break right there.
Yeah, a little bit of a fast break there, Dylan. They're just going to slow things down, give it over to Speed. Speed up top to Hinney. He swings it. Here's Toner. Toner to Rathjen. Rathjen swings it back down to X over to Christy. Christy to Speed. Speed back up top. St. Anthony's really just draining this clock right now, Dylan. And here's Toner. Toner dodges, swings it back down, goes down the alley. Rathjen guarded by Crowley. Great shot by Rathjen. Great save by Patterson. Patterson saves that one, and here she comes on the clear. Patterson. Here are the Rams on the clear. That one, bad pass there. That's going to go out of bounds. Intended for Pinkernell.
Who passed that one?
That was number 25 for the Rams.
That is Madison.
Cleverelli.
Yeah.
Rams get the ball back. And that'll be number 16,
Allison
Cecilia. Top, here's Shu. Shu just slows it down. And
oh,
miscommunication. Yeah, Dylan. Here's Patton.
Canaan gets it back, which is good.
Patton puts it in her left. That was a rough check there. No call from the ref. Here's Emma Rowe, Columbia commit, senior. Up top to Patton. Just high on the pass there. And
picked up by Pinkernell.
Pinkernell swings it off to Patton. Patton puts the stick in her left. Over to Rowe. High pass, but we got a whistle blown by the ref. Looks like we got a penalty there. A little violation on the Friars. As Patton does not seem to like what the Friars are doing. Very aggressive team. Patton takes it. She's just going to dump it off up top to Pinkernell.
What are they going to call right there?
Looks like we got a 8-meter action going, Dylan. See what we can do here on the free plays. Wonder if she takes a shot or if she goes for a nice pass. Ref telling her to back up just a little bit. There's a goal. Number 16, Ali Cecilia with the goal.
Fresh into the game.
Yeah, that's a great goal there by her as Rams take one back, down 14-3 against the St. Anthony Friars. That's a great look there. Cecilia, great player. Just a fresh
sophomore.
Yeah, just a sophomore. It's just great to see, and the younger players getting some action, and it's good to see as Pinkernell comes back to the draw control. St. Anthony's just taking their time getting back there. Clock's still running, Dylan, so it's might be what they're trying to do. Just drain the clock out a little bit, or
running clock.
Yeah, or they're just trying to take their time. It's hot out here. You gotta keep the players hydrated for sure, Dylan.
Without a doubt. Hot up here in the booth too.
Yeah, Dylan and I are very hot right now, and
as Canaan.
Patton fighting for the ground ball. She falls.
They're gonna give it to St. Anthony.
Give it to St. Anthony's there. Patton
looks upset.
Yeah.
Understandably so.
Ratchet just takes her goggles and almost throws them. Patton not seem thrilled with these calls. Still changing some words with the refs. She gets back into play here. Staying in transition here. Over to Rathjen. Rathjen guarded by Addie Crowley. It's been a matchup we've seen a lot today. Down to Christie at X. Over to Speed. Speed up top. St. Anthony's really just passing the ball around. Toner down to Rathjen. It's almost like they're just swinging the ball around, Just really just draining this clock, Dylan.
Yep.
Swinging around X, just under 7 minutes left in the game. They're just passing the ball around. Don't even passing around. 3 minutes with this clock running, and it's just the Rams aren't really trying too hard to get it, as they might just want to wrap this one up, not make it any worse for themselves. And
yeah,
I know they're working hard to fight back, but it's going to be really hard to net 11 goals at this point with the running clock. 2 more and the running clock will go away, which would give them a little more light, but we'll see what happens. Toner up top.
Yeah, St. Anthony's kind of just playing keep away right now.
Yeah, it's probably what their coach is drawing up right now. Dodge puts it in her left.
I spoke too soon.
Goal, number 13. That's a great job. She puts it in her left, and these great players are able to use both hands. That's Sierra Grant, the Binghamton commit. I think that's her second of the game.
Yeah. Been a lot of multi-goal
whistle blown here.
Let's see what's going on.
We got
Timeout
Timeout, maybe.
by New Canaan, it looks.
Canaan timeout, and that'll stop the clock. That's something to stop the clock. One of the only things that can really do that right now, that and an injury.
Could maybe you could see some of the underclassmen get some playing time.
Yeah, I think both teams right now,
Yeah.
just let the younger girls get in and just get some playing time.
Maybe New Canaan might put in Mason Callahan, the sophomore goalie, to give Patterson a rest.
Yeah, Patterson has been playing great. Just so many shots taken on her, Dylan, and there's not much she can really do to fix that. And
Yeah. I mean, if you're New Canaan, I think you just want to finish this game strong, but then set your mind to your next opponent. And, yeah.
Yeah, Dylan, I'm really excited for this game coming up. A lot of great lacrosse players in that Darien game. And
Yeah. Obviously, you used to go to Darien, so you know a lot of those guys.
Yeah, me and this guy, Rick Giordano, who's now playing at Brunswick. Rick Giordano took down the Wave. They took him down. I believe it was 12-7. Giordano lit up 3 goals in that one against his former team, and he's going to UNC. He's a great player, and a lot of players that were on that Blue Wave team are not there anymore. Myself, Rick Giordano, Kevin Roach, who's still out there in high school.
Yeah.
But
Georgia Tech,
just
football
focusing on football now. Roach, 6'9". Fortunately, we were able to beat them twice in the state championship and twice in the Turkey Bowl.
Thanks to some great defense by James McClerney against Roach.
James McInerney's the man,
yeah.
Michael Smith, and
really that whole team.
Yeah, definitely a little bit smaller than him, but they were able to use that big dog mentality and play well. As we come back out, teams break the huddle, 6 minutes left, and wondering what the Rams and Friars are going to do right now as come back out to the draw control. Schlafman comes back out against Henne.
Yeah, starters are still out there for New Canaan. So it looks like they're just going to try to end this game on a good note, maybe get some momentum for their next matchup.
Yeah, for sure, Dylan. Here's the draw control. Schlafman versus Henne. This has been a great battle. They've been going back and forth all day. Here, whistle blown. That one's going to be won by... Got a whistle blown. That one's going to go with St. Anthony's. Another call kind of against Patton there. This one's going to be brought down for St. Anthony's. They're going to swing it. Probably just pass it around for, another 6 minutes, Dylan. And, I hope the Darien versus New Canaan game is a little closer as, love a nice, high intense matchup. And, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I know I've been talking about that a lot, but I'm very excited to go watch and see what.
It'd be good to beat Darien after how that state hockey game went.
Yeah, Rams have definitely gotten a number of the Wave in a lot of the men's sports this year. As the score is tied up at 1 right now in that game, and New Canaan Henry Laddick just scored, and it was a great goal by Laddick. As just here, we still just see St. Anthony swinging the ball around, and it's going to be interesting to kind of see where they go from here. The Rams need to, if they want to get the ball back, or if they just want to let the Friars keep swinging the pass around. Speed's going to go down. Speed takes a shot. Great save there by Patterson off her foot.
Speaking of that Darien game, JT O'Neill just won another face-off.
Yeah, JT's a dog. Blue Wave has definitely struggled on some face-offs this year, so that's a great job for them.
I got it for 11 saves.
11?
Even though they scored 15 goals.
That was Patterson's 11th save of the day.
Yeah, 11 saves for a goalie is definitely very impressive. They're having 15 let up on her, but
that's about 26 shots on her today. That is a lot.
Saving 11 out of 26 shots is not a bad number, and a lot of those shots, almost breakaway goals, Dylan. So it's kind of hard for her to, really step up. This has been a tough game for the Rams, but can't take pride away from Patterson. She put on a good stat line so far. 11 saves is not something to forget about. As Henne is going to dodge, splits, then rolls back into her right, feeds it to the crease to Speed. That one not connected. Gillum fighting for the ball. Speed comes back out with it. Dumps another save by Patterson. That's her 12th.
Yeah.
Gotta give props to Patterson there.
She's not giving up. You like to see that out of your goalie and your captain.
Yeah, for sure.
And she's going to Notre Dame a reason. So
That's true. Here's Crowley on the clear. You know, shoes comfortable. Shoes wide open at the bottom of your screen. Rams just kind of running back and forth here.
oh
Looking to switch field. We got a whistle blown.
yeah, it looked like is that Patton who fell? Or was that Crowley?
That is number 8 over there. We got Chandler Wagner.
Who's that?
Wagner, the freshman.
No, that's number 4. That's Addie Crowley.
Oh, Addie. Yeah, Crowley. I thought you were talking about the one with the ball.
No, it's
my
not the one who
mistake,
fell.
Dylan.
Yeah. No, you're good.
We see
You got Wagner right though for who has the ball.
We see the St. Anthony's JV and Canaan JV teams starting to warm up just outside of Dunning Stadium right now. Patterson gets the ball. Patterson cradling over to Patton. Patton guarded by Speed. Speed riding very well as Patton's going to carry it over. Rams swing that one down. There's Susanna Moore. Moore up top. Back down to Pinkernell. Pinkernell goes X to Celebrity. Celebrity to Rowe. Just under 2.5 minutes left as Patton's going to dodge. Patton to Rowe. Rowe goes up top to Pinkernell. Back down to Rowe. To Patton. Patton's going to put it in her left. Tries to run. And it's going to stay with the Rams, I believe. 2 minutes left of play here, Dylan, and definitely not the game the Rams were hoping for.
Let's see if they could get another goal right here.
Yeah,
Get some.
Just trying to net one
Positive,
more,
yeah.
get something to go out on. Is that one they turn over? But I believe
No,
that one's going to be staying with them.
Yeah, it's gonna be staying with Canaan.
Susanna Moore takes the ball and she's up top. And she's just going to pass it out to Shu. Shu puts it in her left, goes down the alley over to Patton. Patton down to Emma Rowe, back to Patton. That one picked off. Great defense there by the Friars as they come in their transition game over to Black. Black, as we've said, the Army West Point commit, going on to play some Division I lacrosse there, and after that, it's very respectable to go to Army. Got a serve afterwards, and it's very impressive out of her. And Friars in transition game, it's so dominant on that. We have a minute left in the game, Dylan, and they're going to swing it down to X. Over to Christie. I'm guessing St. Anthony's not going to try to get another shot off. Is just try to keep some sportsmanship in this one. And
Yeah, about 45 seconds left.
I hear Speed. That one, a little confusing. Ball goes loose there. We've had a great battle here today,
Yeah.
Dylan, between the Rams as this one's coming to an end.
Yes.
20 seconds left. Unfortunately, I don't think the Rams are going to be able to net 12, but, Dylan, I think the Rams have done a great job. They're still fighting, which is good to see as, they come down here. A shot.
Well,
There's a goal.
yeah,
There you go. That's something good to go out on.
Good way to end the
time
day.
runs out. And
Um,
that's a great, Dylan, tough loss for the Rams here.
Yep.
They fall to 6-5, which is not something you see out of a New Canaan team, but that'll do it from up here in the booth. Myself, Tucker Stevens, joined alongside Dylan Hart.
thank you guys for. Yeah.
Dylan.
You want to go first? Or?
Yeah, just saying,
Yeah.
joint stream of
Joint
between
stream.
SC Productions and New Canaan Athletics. And
And thank you for everyone who tuned in to watch. And if you want to, you could go watch the New Canaan boys against Darien Blue Wave game right now, which is 2-1.
Canaan up 2-1. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.